Welcome to this session of Dave's Tech Table, where today we'll be looking at new enhancements for 4K editing workflows in the new 7.1 release of Premiere Pro CC. 7.1 brings a ton of new enhancements that you guys have been asking for. Enhancements like support for Blackmagic Cinema D&G RAW camera, as well as new improved support for 4K cameras like the Canon 1DC. I'll be working with this camera a little later on with some footage from a friend of mine. Now, not to mention, we've also continued our support for what Red Digital Cinema is doing with their line of cameras as well. And I'll show you some other stuff on this camera during the demo a little later on. Now, 7.1 is not just about better camera support. We've also addressed a ton of features that you guys have been asking for. Things like rippling time markers, multicam, additional closed captioning support, additional media browser support, and much, much more. So to get the skinny on this, check out my blog on Premiere 7.1 as well as After Effects 12.1 and other apps to see what changes we have there. Now don't forget, Premiere Pro can edit other 4K camera formats from vendors like Arri, Sony, and even GoPro, and a few other cameras as well. I'll start off with a quick demo to show you how you can work on a remote editing system on a laptop in full 4K. And to show this off, I've selected a brand new redesigned workstation laptop from HP called the ZBook. I've been using it for a few months now, and it's pretty incredible what you can do on the go. What I really like about this laptop is they took the time to talk to companies like Adobe on what they needed to do to improve their current line of laptops. And for me, it was all about making it lighter, making it thinner and sleeker. I need full-on Core i7, 4 gigs of GPU RAM, 32 gigs of internal RAM. Not to mention, I love their Dream Color displays, full-on 10-bit. And the most important feature for me was Thunderbolt. With Thunderbolt now in the HP workstation lineup, you can now fully expand your system outside the system. This is fantastic for a lot of users that want to keep their systems around for a long time. You can use options from companies like Atto, say you needed 10 gig E or fiber or SAS connectivity for your laptop, not to mention portable RAIDs from companies like Promise, portable small pocket drives, and even expansion chassis from companies like Sonnet and Magma and a couple others out there. That's incredible, the amount of expansion you can get with Thunderbolt, not to mention lots of dedicated Thunderbolt I/O products from companies like Matrox and Blackmagic and AJA. Let's take a look at this laptop working in full 4K files with full 4K preview. Let's go check it out and see what it can do. Let me just go ahead and plug in my Thunderbolt, which controls my Promise RAID and my 4K display. And as you can see, my Promise RAID is up, as well as my 4K display, and I'm ready to edit. Let's go ahead and see what the system can do. I'll bring up Premiere Pro, give the system a chance to reset, and the first thing I want to point out under my sequence settings is I'm running a full 4096-2160 sequence, which is exactly what you would expect coming from the Canon 1DC. I'll go ahead and click OK. I'll also take the time to thank Devin Supertramp. I've been working with him. He's a YouTuber. If you haven't seen some of his work, go check out Devin Supertramp on YouTube. He's got some great videos. He's been doing some amazing action work. I've been a fan of his for years, and he's recently switched over to Premiere Pro and shooting on the Canon 1DC. So let's take a look at how some of his footage plays on the timeline. Now what I'm going to go ahead and do is just sort of show you how smooth this actually plays back and scrubs on the timeline. It's actually pretty incredible that you can do all of this amazing performance just on this laptop. And you'll notice that the system is very responsive. When I hit the space bar on and I hit the space bar off, it actually is right on key. Just great performance on this machine. Now, the one thing you might not have noticed is I'm going to hover my mouse over this little green dot here, and it tells me 0 frames were dropped during playback. That's a performance indicator that you can turn on under the wing menu here and have it show you drop frames or not drop frames. To me, it's not a huge deal, especially when I'm on a laptop doing 4K editing. If I drop a frame here or there, it can happen for a number of reasons, especially when I'm on one Thunderbolt cable here that is fed to the Promise RAID, from the Promise RAID out to my 4K display, and you might have some other Thunderbolt things in the chain. But anyway, it's a great indicator so you can kind of tell what's going on. Now, what you might be wondering is, what other types of things can I do? I am really taxing this system at 4K because it's pushing a lot of pixels. So if I wanted to take something like an adjustment layer, drag this over my entire sequence here, what type of performance can I expect? So let's move my timeline maybe over to this scene here, which is at the end of Devin's movie. And let's go grab an effect, maybe something like a day for night effect, which is one of the Lumetri effects that we have. And this is a nice, beautiful daylight shot. And I want to go ahead and select this adjustment layer and make it look like they shot it right at dusk. So I'm going to double click on this, go ahead and apply that. And at this point, let's go ahead and play back. And you'll see the system's actually doing its best to play back, but we're actually taxing the system at this point. Again, for me, being a laptop, it probably wouldn't be doing color correction out in the field or applying looks or LUTs. So you've kind of reached your limit at 4K. You're asking a lot. So for me, the value in this laptop is being able to rough cut on site in 4K. That's exactly what I would be doing with this laptop. Now, you can go in and try to do some other performance tricks to try to get the resolution down and other things that you can work with. What can we do to solve this problem and take this entire workflow and move it over to another system? Let's check this out. Let's talk about this amazing 820 and how expandable it really is inside and out. So let me just take the cover off here, give you guys an idea what's in the machine. Obviously, like a lot of desktops, I've got 4 bays of storage for different drives. I've got front bays of storage for different drives, and I've got 4 drives sitting up here in a RAID configuration. I've got some smaller bays up here for SATA drives and things like that. Now on the inside, let's talk about graphics and other processing power that's in here. So aside from my E5 processors from Intel, I've got an NVIDIA GeForce 690 card, one of my favorite cards out on the market. I've got my ES Pro card for my G-Tech SAS drives. And as you can see here, this bright red card is my Red Rocket for processing R3D files. So I pretty much got a nice system. It only takes one power plug to plug everything in, and I'm ready to go. Now, I talked about that laptop. How do I get the footage off of the Promise Thunderbolt RAID into here? So how do I connect this cable to my Z820? Well, for the first time, I've had the opportunity to use a card that will be available for the 820 and future systems that allows for Thunderbolt connectivity. Basically, you'll be able to take your Thunderbolt, plug it into here, and you're all set. So this will just fit in any available 16-net slot, and you're ready to go. Let's see what the 820 can do. So I'll bring up Premiere Pro, and as you'll see, it's pretty much in the same state where the ZBook was when we left it, and that's because I'm reading the Promise RAID via Thunderbolt and picking up exactly where we left off. So the first thing you'll notice is I can go ahead and scrub this pretty easy, even with this day-night filter on here. I can go ahead and play it back, give it a chance to queue up, and it does a great job of playing that back. Now, what happens if I want to take it to the next level and really start to tax the system? I'm going to pop over to Effects Controls, get rid of the day-night filter, and just put it right back the way it was. And let's go grab something like a 3-way color corrector and apply that to the adjustment layer. I'll wind this back a bit. You see it's already on. I'll hit play and start adjusting this in real time. So I'll up the saturation a bit, start moving the color wheel around to sort of dial in the right color while it's playing. And the whole time, I'm not dropping any frames. So it's just a great way to interact with 4K media. And again, it really shows off the dual processor, the E5 processors in this Z820. Something else I can do is go ahead and play this back and add additional effects. I'll do something silly like a basic 3D. And I'll add a few keyframes while it's playing. And let's go ahead and change some of these parameters. You can see it's pretty easy to move this around and interact with filters in real time. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm not dropping any frames. Absolutely amazing what I'm able to achieve. Now, let's take it to another level. Let's go ahead and switch projects and talk about what we're able to do with, say, cinema files from a RED camera, like a RED Epic. So I'll go ahead and bring up the RED project. And the first thing I like to point out about this, native R3D files, I'm at full resolution and again on a full monitor coming off of this RED Epic camera. So I shot this a couple weeks ago and you can see my footage scrolls and scrubs amazingly well. I can just play this back, absolutely no problem. A lot of people that have been working with RED footage over the years have asked me a lot, how can I edit my RED in full 4K? And again, before 4K monitors were affordable, you really couldn't. So now, if you look at what's going on in the system here, in my 820, what I really love about what I've got this system doing right now is I've got the E5 processors running the CPU, obviously. I've got the NVIDIA GPUs going on with the NVIDIA 690, a really fast card in here. Not to mention my Rocket card helping the playback of the R3D files. All three of these technologies are scalable and working together in a high-class performance machine like this 820. It's really what owning a desktop is all about. Maximum power for maximum throughput. Again, it's just a system that's unbeatable. So I'm going to go in here and right mouse click on my source settings. One of the things a lot of people love about RED, and I certainly do too, is dialing in my raw settings. So now I can look at all this in 4K glory. Let's up that saturation a bit. I'm going to exaggerate it a little bit for the camera. Let's go ahead and take my shadow down to start to bring some of that up and just add a little bit of life to that. Maybe even bring my brightness down. Maybe bring that exposure to bring some of those whites up a little bit. I'll click OK and go ahead and play that back. And again, all in real time. I'm not dropping any frames. Absolutely incredible. I think people using this system will be just amazed at what they can do. And again, I just have to go back, all of these technologies in a single box, and having Thunderbolt the ability to use all of this technology and still be able to expand even further and share your workflow with laptops and other users via a single Thunderbolt connection. So I have to hand it to HP. I've been really impressed. It's done amazing things for 4K workflow. This is Dave, Tech Table. We'll see you next time.